The most powerful tool that you have right now in your life, in your body, is your mind. That's why the enemy fights you in your mind. The devil doesn't have to tie you up for you to be bound. He just has to tie up your head. With stress, with worry, with aggravation, with low self-esteem, with pettiness, with anger, with hostility, with rebellion. And he can make you physically sick because your mind is sick.
Whatever drives you, that's what's shaping your life. And the challenge is that most of us never consciously decide what we're going to have drive our life. See, we're not stimulus response animals, but we can be stimulus response animals.
We must not be negative. Just negative talk gets us in so much trouble.
I am sick and tired of people coming to me saying that they had a setback. It is a part. I love the sun, but things don't grow because of the sun. You have to have some rain. And you gotta stop looking at rain in your life as something bad.
You control your feelings. Don't nobody else control your feelings. So when you tell me I ain't feeling it no more, it don't got nothing to do with something external. It's something internal that you ain't pushing no more. You push you. You gotta move you every single day.
Takes guts. You gotta dig down deep to gut it out. Keep on going again and again and again until you make it happen, because you know that it's possible. Now, what do you do during the hard times, Les? You must have faith. Paul said you must have the faith to call forth those things that be not as though they were. Judge not according to appearances. Don't judge your circumstances and the possibilities for your future based upon what you have now and because of what's going on now. No. That's not the real reality there. What you're going through, if you're going through some hard times, it has not come to stay, it has come to pass.
Absolutely, there's a real you. Richard Wright said it best. He said, the impulse to dream has slowly been beaten out of me through the experiences of life. So when you live in a culture that is designed to destroy your sense of self, where you are marginalized, where you have a feeling of being hopeless and powerless, and you're terrorized. And the book called Learned Optimism, Seligman talk about the fact that between ages 0 and 5, we determine what's available to us and what's not available to us. And so that was a defining moment. I knew there are certain things I could not do, certain places I could not go. They used to have signs on Miami Beach that said, Jews, dogs, and coloreds not allowed. And so now you have to operate within the constraints of the dominant society and the things that they've created for you. And it's a challenge to see yourself beyond that and to work to get outside of that, even after those laws have changed, because that has become so much a part of you, you unconsciously operate within the parameters of what has been put in place. Like you're driving on the expressway, the 405, and you'll get off on an exit that you weren't going in that direction, but you unconsciously did it because you've done it so many times that many people, because they're not making a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to think outside of what life has thrown at them, they end up doing the same thing over and over and over again. Einstein said that thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And so through relationships, through reading, through studies, through goals and dreams beyond your comfort zone, it allows you to begin to live out of your imagination as opposed to out of your history. Disney said, the imagination is a preview of what's to come. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow.
So I, from experience, know that a lot of times you're not going to believe what you're telling yourself at first, but over time, just the sheer repetition, it becomes familiar, it feels safe to use your language. And so you start going, oh yeah, this really is, wait a second, no, this isn't true. But you've repeated it so many times that actually you do come to believe it. How do you help people through that process? Do you just say, have faith, trust me, repeat it enough, or do you have a different insight on that?
So the more you practice it, I want to first share why, because I go into this in the book. We actually have part of our mind, our brain. It's called the reticular activating system. So like you mentioned earlier, we're very grateful for this little part of our brain because like you mentioned earlier, we can't take it all in at once. We can't think every thought at once. We can't attend to every stimuli in this exact moment at once. We would completely overwhelm our system. So we have a little part of our mind that determines what's relevant for us. And it filters out anything else that's not relevant. The common example is when you decide you're going to buy a new particular type of car, right? So now you've practiced thinking about this car, you're researching it, you're going to all these car lots, and now all you see is everyone driving that same car. Cars didn't just appear on the road, you just started to pay attention because now that car is relevant to you. Same thing happens with all of our beliefs. Beliefs originated simply as a thought that we practiced over time that then got validated by our experience, because typically our thought arose from some experience that happened, and then any similar experience connects to those same thoughts, and then we become really practiced, and then our reticular activating system comes on the scene and sets us up to confirm our belief, our thought, because I've practiced it long enough, so any opposing evidence in that moment, so say I'm not worthy is my common thought, it's for many of us. Any evidence in this moment of my worthiness will be deleted. And all I'll see is that side look or that call that went unanswered. All I'll see is evidence for how unworthy I am. And we're doing this unbeknownst to ourselves day in and day out. So to create a new belief, like I said, first we want to spend less time with our old beliefs, entertaining them, engaging with them. While we don't anticipate that they're going to leave right away, we can refocus our attention. The more we rehearse then new beliefs, we're actually priming that reticular activating system. So now we become a little more expansive and I can let a little more new information in from my environment. So before long, when I start to actually see confirmation of this new belief in real time, that's when I began to shift. I don't think anything is a greater teacher personally, Tom, than wisdom, living the experience of change. So I can sit here on podcast after podcast and tell everyone all of the beliefs I've changed about myself. I urge everyone out there to create change for themselves. And you do it by practicing a new thought, by over time allowing in a little more confirmatory evidence of that new thought. And then before you know it, you do start to see more and more evidence. And now you've lived the experience of changing a belief.
We surround ourselves around people that make us feel great, that tell us what we want to hear. The second we put ourselves amongst the uncommon people, we don't like that feeling. I don't know, I lost my edge. What's going on? Because once you hit the top of the mountain, guess what happened? I'm good. I'm good, so you wonder why you're falling down now. Because once you reach the top of the mountain, you got to build up another one. That's mediocrity. There's a lot of people in mediocrity who have a nice resume, but they're one-timers, man.
Not only is it possible, that's probably the best time to do it. When circumstances and situations are pressing in upon us, the only way we can overcome them is to go within, to actually begin to ask very empowering questions with the awareness that this universal presence and its law will answer any question that you ask.
So your comforts are now, so your discomfort is now very minuscule to your discomfort back here. So you have to go back to the total discomfort to then raise your level of where you're at now.
It's just looking in the mirror and telling yourself the story that you want. I mean, and a lot of people tell the story that everybody else wants them to tell, right? So the marketing messages, the story is being told from out here and then you're bringing it to you. What you have to do is tell the story you want.
I'll give you one because this one is profoundly impactful. you're more likely to believe something negative than you are something positive. Now think about how that can echo through your life. Each of us has to realize that all of the beliefs that we have in our life are choices.